Hello and welcome to my podcast, Manna at the Tap. My name is Gloria, and I want to thank all of you who have been on this Lenten journey with us. And if you have just found our podcast, we warmly welcome you as well. Our podcast is designed to provide spiritual nourishment, manna, a bite-sized piece to feed your soul. Today is Maundy, Thursday, and it's currently March the 28th, 2024. As we reflect on Jesus' journey to the cross, we recognize the depth of his love for humanity as described in our lectionary text. However, we also see that humanity tends to resist this love. The name Maundy is derived from a Latin word meaning commandment. Jesus said to the disciples, I give you a new commandment that you love one another. The narrator of our story is John, the beloved disciple, who described himself as the disciple whom Jesus loved. He framed the events of Maundy, Thursday evening as the time when Jesus had both the knowledge and control of the events of his upcoming death. The narrator declared in the lectionary text, John 13, Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to his Father. And again, Jesus knew the Father had put everything under his power. He was sent by God and he was returning to God. Those are verses 1 and verse 3. Within this framework, we see that Jesus is intentional in his every action. He's guiding and teaching his disciples as they go through this turbulent time. And it is all happening in a private home, in the upstairs room, the home of John Mark, the writer of the Gospel of Mark, and his family. John, the beloved disciple, is the narrator of our story, and he states that Jesus's actions are all because he loved his own who were in the world, and he loved them to the very end. In the upstairs room, the Passover meal is in progress. And let's notice some verbs here. And Jesus gets up from the meal. He takes off his outer clothing, wraps a towel around his waist as he poured water in a basin and begins to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel. These were all actions of his love for his disciples, derived from the love of the Father. The washing of his disciples' feet was to become an example for the disciples to follow, as this action would show their love for each other. The lowest job in a household was to be the slave who washed the feet of guests. Jesus wanted the disciples to know and understand the power of foot washing. John hints to us, the reader, that Judas has been prompted to betray Jesus, but he will not allow Judas to preempt what Jesus has to say. So we have to sit tight through Jesus's long farewell speech found in John chapters 14 to 17 before the betrayal of Judas, which takes place in John 18, and that is our reading for tomorrow. Now back to our lectionary text. Peter had a difficult moment accepting that Jesus wanted to wash his feet, and he outright said, "No, you'll never wash my feet." Peter's response is so much like our response. He thought, or maybe he thought, it should have been the other way around. He should have been the one to do the foot washing because he probably viewed himself as a fisherman from the lowest class and not as a teacher like Jesus. But Jesus knows what he's doing. Peter demonstrates to us the confusion he felt as to why Jesus was taking this action. Peter seemed to have been resisting the changes in the day's culture. But like a good teacher, Jesus tried to assure Peter that he would have clarity and would understand at a later time. We note that Peter does not object to Jesus washing the other disciples' feet, so Jesus stated clearly to Peter, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." Then we'll note that Peter will change his tactics as if to mock Jesus. He says to Jesus, "Well, then wash my hands and head as well." I wonder if he was remembering what Mary of Bethany had done for Jesus. Foot washing is an action of love and service. It is not meant as a ritual done without thought. One has to be intentional in their love for the other person to do this job, not as the lowest of the lowest, but as an act of love for the other. The last act of love that Jesus performed was when he washed the feet of Judas, even though he knew that Judas was up to something, Jesus's betrayal. And Judas, after having his feet washed, he went out, and it was night. Once gone, the community of disciples listened as Jesus said that God was ready to glorify him. And his last words to his disciples were the same as his first words. "A new command I give you. Love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another." I want you to join me tomorrow, Good Friday, as we continue the saga of Jesus and his final journey to the cross amidst the betrayal of Judas and all his other disciples. I hope you'll join us tomorrow as we arrive at Good Friday.